All right. Hello, everyone. Today we got the predictions for the series before the NBA Finals, aka the Conference Finals. Today is the day that they start, Tuesday. Tonight we got Timberwolves and Thunder, and tomorrow we start Knicks Pacers. So let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start with the East though, the Knicks Pacers matchup, and I think everyone is really high on the Knicks right now, which makes sense because they beat the defending champs. But like the Pacers also beat the Cavs in less games, which to me is more impressive. Sure, they were hurt, but like the Celtics were also hurt the last like two games of the series. But my prediction is going to be Pacers in seven. I if I had to pick a team to root for, I would go for the Knicks. But to be like accurate for who's gonna win, if I had to put money on it, I would say Pacers. And it's gonna be a long series, so I'm just gonna go with seven, and hope we get a good, hard fought series that goes all the way through, and is gonna end in seven. The reason why is because the Pacers, they got more rest. They obviously have a much better bench, and their shooting is like on fire right now, or at least it has been in the playoffs, and I think they will continue to capitalize off that and use that to their advantage. With the rest, that's not like a huge difference. Some teams don't really need it. Maybe some teams benefit. Maybe some teams worsen. So I think they could, use that to their advantage, along with the shooting and the depth. Obviously, they could go like 9, 10 guys. Maybe this series they start to go like eight guys. So that's looking like Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell, and probably Benedict Mathurin off the top of my head. Probably those three guys mainly. Just because obviously you want your star players to rest, but like at this time you need them more than ever. So their starters should be getting a lot more minutes. With the Knicks though, we already know they play their guys like all the time. They only have two real players that come off the bench. So as long as they don't really get in foul trouble, they should be okay. Same with injuries. Hopefully, they don't get any injury bugs or anything. But the few games I watched for the Knicks Celtics, Karl-Anthony Towns just like, I don't know, he puts up stinkers, where he just is either in foul trouble or he just can't hit a shot. And sadly, when he gets in foul trouble, he's normally like on. So if he can tone the fouls down and have like even good games for his standards, that will definitely help them a lot. But the key prediction I have is that both teams will have at least one game in the series where they will come back from at least 20 points and win. We saw the Knicks do this twice in a row against the Celtics, games 1 and 2. And against the Pistons, I think it was game 1, they scored like 20 straight in the fourth quarter, to end up win the game. And then the Pacers, they were down like a good point at least like 2 games out of the 5 they played. They were down at least like 20, and then they ended up clawing back and winning because they just never let go. Whereas if you look at the Celtics, they were up 20 and they kind of took their foot off the gas. I think both teams know to not do that because they have both came back from that point, just recently in the second round. So it's, even though they're not gonna want to take their foot off the gas, it's gonna happen where one team wants it more and they'll fight back. So I think 2 out of the 7 games I predicted will be 20-point comebacks. And just because there's only 2 series, that would normally be it. But for this, I do have some stats that I wanted to mention. I did bring up or highlight the Pacers shooting before, and they are first in the playoffs in field goal and 3-point percentage. Field goal percentage is 50 and 3-point is 40%, which is very impressive. Yes, it's good because if you're on, and it's going to take a lot to stop you. But it can also come back to bite you because is it going to hold up? You never know with something like shooting. Could it take them to the finals? Could it win them the finals? Could it like not even take them to the finals at all, where they go on a huge like mega slump and the Knicks capitalize off of it? No one really knows. I guess we'll find out tomorrow on Wednesday. And for the Knicks side, I did write that they are averaging 12 offensive rebounds per game, which is pretty crazy. I don't remember if they were first or not. Out of all the teams left, I think they were like second. But the Pacers, which this is important, the Pacers were dead last with about 7. So I think that is something the Pacers probably talked about while preparing for this. And I think it's also something the Knicks could use to their advantage to help them get easy points and win some games. Okay, now moving on with the Western Conference, who will be representing them between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. I think this series is harder to predict for me, just because the Pacers are so hot and they're beating all these expectations. So I think it's right to go with them. But for this one, like the Timberwolves, like crushed the Lakers. They didn't crush the Warriors, but they didn't really have a big problem with them. But if you look at the Thunder, they blew past the Grizzlies, easy peasy. And then they took the Nuggets, who just won a chip 2 years ago. They're heavily experienced. They took them to 7 and blew them out in Game 7, which is a statement. They also had a game where they won by like 40. I think it was Game 2. But anyways, my final prediction is that the Thunder will advance to the finals in 6 games. I don't see either series being 5, so 6 or 7 seems reasonable for both. This one I think goes to 6. Why? Because the Thunder, like I mentioned, they just faced the Nuggets, a very tough opponent, and I think they can use that to their advantage just because of what they learned from it and what they had to deal with. They can turn that back around, flip it around, and take that against the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves, obviously, they were a 6 seed, so technically the Nuggets were better, but you would still think that the Timberwolves are good, which they are. They just haven't really been super challenged, which could hurt them. I mean, the Lakers, like, I don't really think that challenged too much. Timberwolves are kind of in control of the whole series. And the Warriors, if they had Steph Curry, 100% they would have been challenged, but like he was out Game 1, so since then, I mean, they kind of knew they weren't going to win, but like had a mega advantage. So I think the Thunder, though they didn't have as much rest, maybe rest won't be needed in a team like that just because they have guys off the bench. They're not like a Knicks team or a Nuggets team where they need their starters to play all the time. So I think this that matchup against the Nuggets was super crucial, and the Nuggets could be the hardest team they played in this whole playoffs if they were to go all the way and win it. You could argue maybe their finals opponent, just depends on how they're playing, but like the Nuggets, you're not going to match up against a team it's going to be hard to match up against a team that's more experienced than them and more controlled, especially when they have like Russell Westbrook off the bench. Anyways, my key prediction is that Anthony Edwards will drop 40 points or more 2 times in the series. One of the times giving them a win, the other time they'll lose. I looked at his averages. He's only averaging like 26, only 26, but you would think maybe more just because of how good he is. I know Julius Randle's been really good, and I think their shooting as a team has been very solid. So it's not like he's needed. But I think this series is obviously going to be the Timberwolves' toughest opponent. So I think this series, it will be needed from him, which is why he'll drop 40 twice out of my 6 predicted games. Maybe they'll lose on his 40-point game because of shooting, foul trouble, whatever. And maybe they'll win just because everyone's got to click in or the Thunder put up a stinker. But yeah, he drops 40 twice. 1 time for the good, 1 time for the bad. And some stats that I have out of all the teams remaining, the Thunder are first in steals and blocks with 10 steals, 6 blocks. And on the flip side, the Timberwolves are averaging 13 turnovers per game, which is a little scary because that's like a huge way the Thunder like to go score is off of turnovers and in the fast break. So, I mean, they could use that to their advantage. That could cost the Timberwolves a game or two, which is very crucial. Regardless, though, I mean, for both of these series, I think it's good. how it's not what people expected, and you could really go either way with it, kind of convincing someone for both sides. But regardless, for every team is pretty much a success. Like the Knicks, they beat a hard fighting Pacers team. I mean Pistons team, and they beat the defending champs. The Pacers, they beat the second best team in the league, and they beat the Bucks with Giannis going crazy. So it's very impressive they both got here, but only one can advance. With the West, I mean the Thunder, cause kind of the only team that's like you have to advance to be a successful season. The Timberwolves, though, obviously you were just in the spot last year, so like you want to, not be stuck there. But like being here as your, I don't want to call it a floor, but being here is like a good spot to be at and to build on for the future. Regardless, though, all these teams do have a chance to make the finals, which is good. It's not really one sided, it could go either way. So I think this conference finals for 2025 will be very interesting one and a very key one to watch. But those are my predictions. 100% have predictions for the finals, which will be in a few weeks, I guess. So yeah, hopefully I'm right.